So the entire Sophie Cunningham situation kind of blew up a little bit. And it was based on a podcast clip where she was not happy at all about her contract. And to be honest, I don't think it's would be the most common thing in the world to be happy with a 1-year deal when she specifically said she didn't want a 1-year deal. And also, I don't think the money is, not that I don't think the money is something she cares about, but I do think being in Indiana long term, the fact is that the Fever as an organization did not want to commit to Sophie Cunningham, which is what I think she's pissed about. And you know what? Like, rightfully so. Like, she was really good last year, and obviously the Fever did not want to commit to her. So Sophie Cunningham says, I'm going to shut this down right now. Not bad with the money, I just wanted more years. As I love it here, I wanted to get a house so I could bring my dog and donkey to India with me. That's it. That's the truth. I think we have something very special here in Indiana. Then let's take a listen to what she said today, and this is from Tony East.
I think last year, Twitter kind of blew up last night about a comment I made on my podcast, but that was taken, that's not what I meant at all. And I think if you listen to the full clip, you really understand that I just wanted to be somewhere for more than 1 year. I'm almost 30 years old. I want to have a home. I want to kind of get established, and I would love to get established in a place like Indiana. We had such a great time, and when you find a group of girls who really make you fall in love with basketball again, and you enjoy it, you enjoy them not only on the court but off the court, like, you want to hold on to that. And so that's what I meant by that. And I think all of them this morning, they're like, we know exactly what you meant. The internet's doing what the internet does, and it's trying to stir things up, but it made me sound snotty and ungrateful, and that is the last thing I ever want. I am so grateful. I know I'm coming off a pretty big knee injury, and so it was never about the money. It was just about the years, because I wanted to be with them, and God forbid a girl loves her teammates. You know what I mean? So I think that we just have something special here when we're all healthy.
And funnily enough, this is what I've seen from this Tony East clip that has been cut off everywhere else, and this is very important.
I'm just grateful to be back.
So then you clarified mostly. Did you get a multi-year offer anywhere, or was that
other places I did? And so I know there was comments, whoa, this is your only offer. No, it wasn't. Like, of course, so I need to stay off Twitter. It's the most toxic place ever. But I just wanted to shut that down, because that's not what it was about.
So basically, other teams, she basically took a hometown discount to stay in Indiana, which we all knew she was going to, but she took a hometown discount and less years. And that is one of those things where you're like, it's not the most ideal situation when a player wants to stay, and it's very clear not that the team doesn't want her to stay. I'm not going to go that far, and I don't think that's the case. They're not committing to her long term. And I personally think that, as much as Kelsey Mitchell's happy back with the Fever, I don't think Kelsey Mitchell's happy with her contract. If you're Kelsey Mitchell, if you guys don't know, Kelsey Mitchell was looking for a long-term deal. She was looking for a long-term deal as well, and the Fever said no to her. Albeit, she ended up getting a, Supermax, so I don't think she can be too upset. But, as far as I'm aware, she wanted a long-term deal. She wanted a long-term deal when it comes to it, and wanted to stay in Indiana. But the Indiana Fever only really want to commit to Caitlin and Kelsey long-term. Say Caitlin and Aaliyah long-term. Everything else is, I'm not going to say everything else is they don't really care, because they do. But outside of Caitlin and Aaliyah, they're not committing long-term to anyone. Nobody else is on contract, has a longer contract in 2 years, other than rookie contracts and Caitlin and Aaliyah. That's it. That is it. Every single other person is on a short-term deal or a relatively short-term deal. I'm not going to say completely short-term, but a relatively short-term, because not everyone is on a 1-year deal. And again, the Indiana Fever they seemingly made it clear they are not going to commit. They did not want to commit to Sophie long-term. They don't want to commit to anyone long-term, by the way. They want that cap space to be there, because there is a world next year where the likelihood of them keeping Sophie and Aaliyah is near zero. It would take Sophie having to play. It would take Caitlin having to play on nearly the minimum to pay Caitlin, or to pay Sophie and Kelsey what they want. To pay one of the two the equivalent of this year, it would take 2 of the 3 playing on minimums. And if Caitlin's playing on a maximum, it would take Kelsey Mitchell taking a $600K a year pay or haircut, which she won't do, and Sophie playing on the minimum, if you want to keep both of them. I do think that the Indiana Fever might find a way of making it work while keeping one of the two. But like, I don't see there's not a situation where the quote unquote core five are going to be there next year. Like, I think Sophie absolutely wanting to be in Indiana, she would take a pay cut. And I wouldn't be surprised if she got offered something like the Mo Billings deal of 1.6 for 2 years. Like, that kind of seems about in and around what her market value was, about 1.6 for 2. That being said, like, she had, like, that was the type of money that I feel like she could have easily enough got in this free agency, and she probably turned down about 170, 200K a year to stay in Indiana, which for her is definitely it's worth it for her to do that. That being said, it's clear that the Fever not only didn't give her the contract she wanted, but like, they basically didn't don't want to commit to her long term. And look, it's not only Sophie. A lot of people are like, oh, they just don't want Sophie on the team. No, they clearly do. They signed her again. Just like they clearly want Kelsey Mitchell on the team. I think they just don't want to put themselves into a situation where they can't pay Caitlin Clark next year. Because that situation exists. There's a situation where they fucked it all up and then they have to start giving away. They have to start giving picks away, giving assets away in order to get off bad contracts, which aren't even bad contracts. Like, if they gave Sophie Cunningham long-term and Kelsey long-term, they would have to start giving away assets to get off the Lexi contract if they want to keep Caitlin next year. But if Caitlin wanted the max, that is. But yeah, it's all around a situation where she's on the team this year. I don't think the likelihood is that Sophie's on the team after this season. I think Sophie and Kelsey, maybe you keep one of them. Like, maybe you keep Sophie Cunningham. Maybe you keep Kelsey Mitchell. And obviously Kelsey's the better player, but like, in terms of how much they cost, like, Kelsey's going to be a lot cheaper than Sophie. Sophie's going to be a lot cheaper than Kelsey, and Kelsey's going to be near a max. You're not going to get Kelsey for less than a max because she's not there making $500-600K a year, and that's the most conservative estimate ever for what Sophie Cunningham's making off the court. Like, it could very well be in the seven figures, but saying 600K is probably the most conservative estimate that I can come up with. That it's definitely over, or that's definitely under what she's actually making. So yeah, that is pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about this. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.